Hey, everybody, and thank you for listening to the Liars Club. It's Andrew here, your friendly neighborhood podcast producer. We love that you're listening to the Liars Club, no matter what you're listening to it on, and we would greatly appreciate it if you could give us a review, give us a subscribe, give us a like, all that fun stuff. Also, tell your friends about it. We are doing live episodes now. We have a live episode coming out here shortly, so be on the lookout for that. Also, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please give us an email at theliarsclub1@gmail.com. You guys rock. Bye!
Welcome to the Liars Club. This is where we take our guests, we tell them to give us the truth, give us a lie, we figure out which is which. I'm Jessica Wellington.
I'm Felicia Michaels.
And you're about to get lied to. Today, I am very excited that we have a lady that just did her first co-star role in The Life in Pieces.
Life in Pieces, yeah.
I'm already fucking this up.
That's all good.
All right, and she has that's the name of your show. That's the name of your show.
That's right.
It's Sall Good.
That's
And this is Tema Sall.
Hey.
Wonderful.
Thank you, ladies, for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And then over here we have a lady that just started at the Comedy Store. She's working here. She is a Canadian comic, now turned American.
Yeah.
Right? And she is the producer of a podcast called Happy Endings, which is amazing. Please welcome Emmaleigh Rivera.
Yay. Thanks so
Yeah.
much,
Welcome
guys.
to the show, you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So where in Canada are you from, Emily?
Nova Scotia.
Holy moly. That is wow.
And everyone's mind goes blank, like, okay.
That's where
Wow.
the wolves are from, right?
That's, it's East Coast, like Maine, but you keep going.
Yeah.
Yep.
So whatever
Gross.
got you into comedy? What got you interested into comedy coming from Nova Scotia?
My nan is actually from the East Coast as well. And,
Nan is...
my grandmother.
Okay.
And, we would just...
Don't you talk your Canadian bullshit here.
My
I was
grandma.
like, that's an Indian bread.
Yeah.
None. That's none.
Bravo, Jessica. Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo.
But there's nothing to do. And so we would just sit around and tell stories. And in her cabin, they had a thing called the Liar's Bench where we just sit and tell stories
Really?
all the
Nice.
time. Yeah.
Well, this is
Wow.
We're like,
fun.
it's obviously going to be a lie, but it's going to be a good one. So
Yeah.
I'm excited
Oh.
about
If we
this.
ever have to change our name, we should change it to that.
The Liar's Bench.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. Welcome to the show.
I'm not from Nova Scotia. I'm from Los Angeles. I'm an LA native. And
Unicorn.
yeah, apparently.
Where in LA did you grow up?
Toluca Lake. Are you familiar?
Oh, yes. I was living in Valley Village
Oh, nice.
for a long time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Representing the valley. I
yes,
love it.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Wow. Does it feel like when you tell people Toluca Lake and so LA natives know, like,
Yeah.
you've been given everything, goddammit.
That's usually what I get
Yeah.
is the grunt and then well, I mean,
Well, she often dresses French, so that explains that.
I do. That's where
And
the
what
noises
does that
come
mean
from.
to you, though, Jessica? How do you define that? She didn't shave her armpits? Like, I want to know how you define it. So what we do is we ask our comedian friends to come in and tell two stories. One is the truth and one is a lie. And I think Tema should go first. It doesn't matter what you tell first. You just can't say what it is because we're going to grill you a little bit. Jessica likes to pretend that we're on NYPD Blue or some shit. She loves to ask a million questions.
Well,
So-
she's taking off her jacket, so she's already sweating.
Yeah,
Real
yeah.
hot right
Yeah, it's about to get hotter, sister.
Okay. So this first story, I was homeschooled actually in 6th grade
In Toluca Lake?
in Toluca Lake. Yeah. So because I wanted to actually pursue my acting career, I wanted to give it
okay.
a shot.
Okay.
So
So you were a child actor. Oh.
Just for a year. Just wanted to. I know. I I put it on hold. But so
What year? From 7 to 8? Like, what are we talking?
No. It was 6th grade. So it's like 10 into 11. So, because I started acting when I was 7 years old, but then I was like, all right, I want to actually give this a shot. So here was the thing: is that I the first role that I actually booked, I booked. It was a background gig, and it was on Home Improvement, which was one of my favorite shows growing
Yeah,
up.
JTT.
Absolutely.
He's come up in this podcast.
He's coming up in this podcast. You know this. He's coming up again, sister. So he.
Is this where all the millennials just break out in masturbation right now?
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Elder millennials, as Eliza
Exactly.
would say.
Yeah. Thank you.
Women.
Respect.
Elder millennial women.
But I was lucky enough to live through that era. So
By the way, when chicks are about to break out in masturbation, you just shut the fuck up. That's
true. You want to
don't
stay
bring
silent.
up their age when there's about a group masturbation about to go down.
The fact that they even just decided to even go with it is a
next
step
time.
forward.
Well, actually,
Back to the day.
Jessica says that Andrew likes to mansplain a bit.
No. It's not man.
No, he's gonna mansplain. Now
Okay, you just mansplained mansplaining.
I can't. It's about myself. I'm not
Yes, it
mansplaining
always
about me, I'm
is. It
explaining
always is,
me.
Andrew.
And you're mansplaining a man. Are you? No.
Either way, Toluca Lake, keep going.
That's all that's been retained in this entire conversation so far.
He's cranky today.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So I booked. My first job that I booked, there was this party scene. So Randy Taylor's character, Randy Taylor, who Jonathan Taylor Thomas. So,
the elder brother, yes.
yes, he's actually the middle child.
The middle
Was he
brother.
the middle?
Yeah, the
Oh, right,
older
yeah,
brother
yeah,
was
JTT.
that
But he was the
jockey-looking
eldest
dude.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But JTT, in all fairness, was the only brother that we all cared about,
Right,
right?
it's true.
Okay, so I the scene that I was actually booked as a background actor. It was a background gig. It was this spin the bottle scene. So I was also told that I'd be up for a chance to be one of the people that Jonathan Taylor Thomas actually kissed in the scene.
Oh shit.
Oh, but they didn't tell you? And,
No,
keep you
not
on
at yet.
Oh.
Yeah, no, they didn't. Not at first. Like they just said, all right, so you also are considered, like casting is going to end up picking someone who will be the person that's actually selected and spin the bottle. So I went to bed that night
Did
and
you
like,
push up your training bra like, oh my
oh yeah, I mean, whatever was there at that moment, of
right,
course,
right,
because
right.
I was 11 at the time. Like,
Yeah,
it was,
I had huge boobs back then.
God. You did?
damn you blossoms, and it just like came in for you, and it just.
How old were
Yeah.
you when,
How old were
when your
you?
boobies came?
Well, I mean, I was a chubby kid, so I always had boobs for a while. But
They were there whether you like it or not.
but then they
relate
popped
so
out
hard.
like probably right at 11. I had like a D.
Damn.
Damn.
D for damn.
Damn.
D for damn and
D for
11 girl.
damn.
That's wild.
Not just damn, but
That's real.
damn. Really, a D. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How old were you when you got like pubes?
11. Yeah, I was
We
right,
all-
yeah.
You got pubes at 11 too?
I started getting 2 or 3 pubes. I remember that very clearly.
Yeah.
Oh, you were an early bloomer.
I was like,
Actually, no, that's right on time, I would say.
Isn't it funny the first
These
time you
days it
see
is.
your pubes? Like I
These
remember
days.
being in the bathtub. I was probably more like 13, but I remember being in the bathtub and I had this one long pube, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And it was like, "How long have I been going that I didn't notice this
Right.
4-inch pube on me?" Right? Like it must have
It's
been
the
like
pube
a
that got away.
virulent pube, like.
The pube without a cause.
Yes, pretty much. Pretty much.
Just hanging out. All right, so where was I? So
In your training bra, and you might kiss JTT.
Right. So I remember, so I got booked, and I the night before, I'm putting together wardrobe options because like I had to actually bring in my own wardrobe. So I was selecting like the cutest kind of outfits to wear, obviously,
Yeah.
for this
Right.
little scene. So I went to bed, and I woke up the next morning. And I just had this like not so great feeling in my gut. Like I was like, I knew I'm still like on the job, but like I just had this feeling of not something.
oh my God, did you start your period?
No, that was actually 6 months later.
Jessica was 3 when she started her period.
Man, you were an early bloomer. That's amazing.
That was a rough diaper change.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow.
Oh, I like you.
I like you a lot too. That's funny. Okay, so I go to set, and my mom was with me because when you're underage, you have to
Right.
actually have a parent to accompany you. So go to set, and I remember I just the PA came over and she started checking us in and everything, and I still didn't know yet if I was going to be the one that was going to be selected for the scene. So I'm just like excited, whatever, all these nerves. And so then they ended up putting us on holding, and then they ended up coming in like. They came over and they brought us over to set, and they started rehearsal for the scene. And so they all sat us in like a circle, and then I found out they said, all right, so Christina, you're going to be the one that's selected when we spin the bottle, and you're going to be the one that Jonathan Taylor Thomas kisses. And I was like, I was so fucking crushed at that
Was she
moment.
blonde?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
and
of
she was so
course.
much cuter,
Of
too.
course, rightfully, she's
yeah.
blonde and everything.
Well, I was going to ask if they let him like come and look at you guys to decide which one. I was
No,
gonna
it's
be
not
like,
his choice.
Okay.
It's like a
casting's
Russian
choice,
prince.
yeah.
Which one?
Whatever you need to believe, Tema. Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I really,
They
I was
probably
like,
had a hole in a wall that he could peek through.
I'm sure, yes, that's how casting goes back in the day. Things have changed, or have they been the same? We don't know. It's a mystery. So we filmed the scene, and I just remember Christina and JTT having that moment, and I was so crushed that it honestly, like, it put such a bad taste in my mouth that I was like, this is what I signed up for? I don't know if I want to be doing this. This is like weird. It was weird because like I had such a huge crush on Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
We all did. I get it.
That's what I'm
I really
saying.
get it.
Did your
yeah.
eyes well up? Were you like that?
I
bummed
got
out?
yeah. Oh, this was one of the most disappointing moments in my life
Do you think all the other
because it was like
girls
so
felt that way?
close. I'm sure, but like I built it up in my head so much that I was going to be the one that was going to be
And
selected.
the girl that did get selected, did she become all like, oh, yeah?
She was kind of like gloating a little bit,
Yeah.
but you know, I didn't really want to talk to her, so I like honestly distanced myself. I honestly didn't want to talk to anyone at that point. I wasn't into it.
Yeah.
I was just like so bummed afterwards. And then I just remember saying to my mom, I was like, I don't know if I'm cut for this. I don't know if this is like what I want to do. So I continued to do some more homeschooling. I literally only did it for a year. And then I was like, all right, I think I need to live a normal life and just go to high school and just kind of see where things go. I'll still act in plays and everything. And But yeah, that was like that moment for me. That was just like,
That's when you decided that
Yeah.
you weren't going to do it full time.
yeah.
Interesting.
I was also a very like innocent, very delicate child at that point. I feel like I was used to getting things that I wanted, and like
Right.
I
So it was your first major disappointment.
It was
in
my
life?
first real, very like huge letdown.
Wow.
Yeah.
The only when I was growing up, I was an army brat, so I lived a little bit everywhere. But for a long time, we lived in this little town called Fountain, Colorado, which was next to Colorado Springs. I don't know, you guys won't know this, but there was this actor named Robbie Benson, and when I was a little kid, he was like a teenage boy, like early 20s, and he was like kind of like a sexy symbol for.
What do you play on, Andy Griffin?
That whistle still makes her laugh.
Well, there it is.
I think when the younger you get titties, the more you just can't have critical thought.
I know that's the case for me.
You just
so.
stop growing as a person.
Mind, body, and soul just stopped.
Mind, body, soul, and them titties.
No, those keep growing. But,
He was in a bunch of movies anyway, but they did a casting because I was always like in acting class, and I was a mime. I went through that whole phase. I'm obviously older than you guys. Fuck y'all. And so
Miming was hot back then.
I'm so
Still is.
old. I lived
Still
through the
is.
mime phase.
Oh, I think we all went through a mind phase. In
Not
fact,
like me,
some of us
bitch.
still
Not
are.
like me.
Here's your thing. Damn. Kinky.
Okay, so anyway, so they were doing this movie, Ice Castles, and as you can imagine, he was like the biggest heartthrob at that time,
Yeah.
like the David Cassidy kind of. It was like after that era a little bit. But so I wrote away to whatever you had to write away to be an extra because it was about ice skating because Colorado Springs is the Olympic Training Center. And so we went, and there was all these girls just like us, and I got all my girlfriends to go. We were probably like 11, 12 years old, and we had to sit in the stands and just pretend to clap, clap, but you couldn't, and just for fucking hours. Just hours while some chick that was really cute skated around. And so me and my friends, although we came from a small town, we were big stoners back then already.
Nice.
Wannabe stoners. So we were like, fuck this Robbie Benson bullshit. And we left. And then we snuck backstage somehow, and then we ate all the food off of the, where they put the food out for the stores.
Craft
Crafty.
services.
We fucking scarfed on craft
Hell yeah.
services and stole candy bars and all that kind of stuff. And then we got kicked off the set.
Rebellious.
But I can remember the feeling of just having the biggest crush.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have so many, like, Leaf. There was this guy, Leaf, I think Garrett. I don't know. He was, and he had this picture where his pants were really tight, and he had a bulge in his pants, like, big. Like, I just saw it recently again, like, scrolling through shit, and I was like, damn. And I used to plaster it above my bed, and I would kiss his penis every night before I would go to bed.
Wow.
And I did it so much that the paper wore out and there was a circle where his penis was. So I understand your pain is what I'm getting at.
Damn. That's layers upon layers upon layers.
Yes,
You
yes.
wore a glory hole into his penis.
Yes, I did. Yes. And
I have a lot of respect for you
I tore it
now.
out of Tiger Beat magazine, pasted it on my wall, and slurpity slurp slurps. I'll probably die of cancer from the carcinogen that was in that printing of Tiger Beat magazine.
Oh my God. Tiger Beat magazine. I used to hang up posters from that magazine all the time. That was my room. That was my bedroom growing up.
Yeah. And I was one of my last friends to have Barbie dolls. And I remember my girlfriend started getting pregnant, and I was still making Barbie and Ken fuck and do 69. And then my
Wow.
girlfriends were getting pregnant, and then I was like, yeah, I gotta
put
get
these
alive.
away.
Gotta ease these up.
I
Gotta
move it
pick
on.
up my game.
Yeah.
I gotta quit licking this paper dick.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
I love you,
Getting
Jessica.
paper cuts in my mouth.
I love you and your big old juicy titties.
Oh my
All
gosh.
right. Try to follow that, Emily.
Right? Shit.
So my grandmother kidnapped my dad. That's how she got him. Because she had a niece that she went to visit, and apparently this niece had an affair on her husband with a Lebanese carnival worker. And
Lebanese
What year?
known carnies.
yeah,
What year was this around?
1960.
Wow. I
Yeah.
love the danger of her doing that.
I know. In rural Canada.
Yeah. Wow. She was like, I'm fucking getting out of this Nova Scotia bullshit right now.
No, the worst part is like he ran part of the freak show, so he had like the pickled bottled parts.
Wow.
Booth.
Pickled bottle
You'd
parts.
have like eyes and hands and goats and stuff.
Dude, your
in a
dad's
bottle.
lucky he didn't end up in one of them bottles.
That was the joke that they used to tell.
really?
They're like, you were one of the babies in the bottle, and he just stuck you in her.
Wow.
Did you say that on the lying bench? Was that a lying bench story?
No, that was my nan. Like, this is where you come from.
Some fucked up story, I must say.
Japanese carnival worker came through Nova Scotia.
Yeah, it was so wonderful. No, and that's how we have you, honey. It's fine. Don't worry, darling.
All right, so how did that happen?
So she's at the carnival and drunk, and she's like, "Why not?"
No, not that part.
Oh.
But thank you for coloring in the picture. How your grandmother stole your father.
We weren't sure after the paper penis.
Yeah. We needed clarification.
Look, if I told you bitches the paper penis story, everything gets told today.
Lay it on me. Come on.
No, she went over to visit, and the husband was like, "Fuck this baby, it's not mine." And so he was kind of sick, and they were keeping him in an underwear drawer.
Uh-huh.
Like gremlin. He was just there, and so my nan just like shoplifted the baby and took him home with her, and nobody really did anything because she was a madam, and ran
Your grandmother was a
Yeah.
madam.
Oh, no kidding.
and ran brothels in
So
Nova
this
Scotia.
baby was no relation to her?
It's her niece's baby.
So her grandnephew.
yeah.
No, grandniece.
Something nephew. My dad.
Yeah,
Wait,
the
nephew.
dad.
Oh, I'm
So-
sorry.
So
Yeah.
grandnephew.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so nobody
Yes.
did anything for a long time until the mom, to be able to stay together with the bio dad, was like, not the bio dad, but her husband was like, no, it really
What do you
is
mean
yours.
biological.
Yeah.
Bio.
Come on,
Bio.
Jessica, snap it the fuck up.
Do we need to break down
Get into your
etymology?
head.
I just kept thinking of biodome, and I was like, what?
We usually, I do too. That's my go-to as well.
And so she was like, no, it really is your baby. Like, I didn't have an affair or anything like that. And so they went and kidnapped him back. And so my nan hid out in a fucking hill for 3 months, just scouting them out until because it's the 60s, and they were like, we're just going to leave babies outside. And she walked over, grabbed his hand and walked away with him and was like, we're going home now. And he's like, what took you so long? But yeah, that's how. So I was raised by kidnappers.
Wow.
Well, was she afraid for his safety, or she just wanted a baby?
Or he just had beautiful smoky eyes. Like what? Like
That's
I carry those on.
Yeah,
No,
you do.
well, they had a lot of like drug and alcohol problems when he was a baby, and this was a few years later. He was like 3 or 4 when they took him back, and she was just like, "No, he's mine now. You don't get to take him." And so she went and got real adoption papers from a judge friend that she knew from the brothel.
Well, you
and-
said you did that with
air quotes. They just did them because he's the friendly neighborhood judge that didn't want everybody to know that he also enjoyed sex workers. So he helped a girl out.
And now, when your grandmother's the one that told you the story, not your father.
They both.
They both did.
Yeah.
How was your father with it? Like, is it hard for him to talk about, or you don't have to go into personal, obviously details, but, or he was just like, "Fuck it, it's Nova Scotia."
He was just like, I don't know. This is what they told me. It's how it happened. This is why you have like 4 different grandparents on my side, 5 or like whatever it is. Like everybody's a grandma and grandpa because technically they are. But no, he's pretty chill about it because my grandma's really open.
Did he have a relationship with his birth mother after that, or did he look to your grandmother as his mother?
Like Nan was his mom. Yeah.
Did they ever have a relationship again?
Like we saw them a few times, but she's kind of a twat, so I didn't really enjoy her.
In America, it's pronounced twat.
Oh, well.
But it's okay. You'll learn. It's fine.
I could have said cunt, but you guys don't like that one either. I don't.
Sydney, Australia likes that one.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sydney.
Twat. I used to have a lot of punchlines back in the day with the word twat. It's kind of fallen out of favor, and I like that a youngin from Nova Scotia is holding
Picking
up
it
the
up.
fucking
They're holding
flame
on
for
to the twat.
Wow. Do you have any questions? Any questions at all, Jessica?
No, not at the moment.
Are you sure?
No, yeah, because I don't want to give away too much yet.
Okay.
I want to wait. I would like to pass.
Pass.
And what about the biological father? I have a question. Biological father of your father. Did he ever know him at all?
Yeah, I got to meet him a few times. His wife wasn't too stoked about us. He basically was just like,
So he didn't want to have anything to do
yeah.
with the kid or you either.
He didn't want anything to do with my dad because he's like, you're a whore. We slept like it's not mine. And then after he was like, you have my eyes. I think it is.
Right.
I usually detect them.
Yeah. A kidnapper loved brown people. So she was just like, this is awesome. We have one now.
And they chant down the street saying that. That's amazing.
So
So does the where does the Lebanese freak live now?
Nice.
my grandma,
No, your biological grandfather.
he died. He's
Where
gone.
did he end up living?
New Brunswick,
Oh.
which is
Like the stew.
Jersey?
yeah, yeah.
New Brunswick.
It's a province in Canada.
So did he just do the Canadian?
Yeah, he like left Lebanon and was like, here we are, like just stayed.
But that was like his
Was he-
rounds in the circus.
Yeah, just East Coast.
Did he all his life do carnival work?
I don't know what he did back, but it was apparently studious because he's like, I'm smart, and we're like, cool. You have pickled body parts.
Pickled
I'm
body
not
parts
really worried
is-
about you.
the name of my new improv troupe. And we're
I like
killing
it.
it.
Yeah. I like it. Wow. All right, so we'll move on to the next round of stories. Unless Andrew, do you have any questions? You're just enjoying the day. All right, so Tema,
Yeah.
your second story.
All right. So a few years later, I was doing this summer program at CSUN, which is Cal State Northridge, and I was in this program called TADWA, Teenage Drama Workshop, and I did it for 4 summers total. And on my 4th summer, the 3 plays that they had, it was basically an intensive like workshop program that I was a part of. So you had dancing, acting, singing, and an elective, and then you would rehearse for the play that you were cast in the afternoon. So the auditions for the plays take place before the actual camp starts, and then on the first day of camp, you find out what play you're cast in right after at lunch. So I auditioned. The plays that I auditioned in were Cinderella, and it was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah. And then The Hobbit.
How old were you?
I was I was 16.
Okay.
So, so I remember I go to the auditions. I go to for Cinderella, and I really wanted to be one of the evil stepsisters because I knew that my other best friend was gonna most likely be cast as Cinderella. My other best friend was most likely gonna be cast as the other evil stepsister. I was like, this is my time. Like, I'm gonna be the other evil. It's gonna be great. And I knocked it out of the park. I remember that was a great audition. And then I moved on to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I read for the Cheshire Cat, which was cool. And then
Read for what?
The Cheshire Cat. Oh wait, no, that's Alice
That's
in
in
Wonderland.
Alice
I'm
in
sorry.
Wonderland.
That's I don't remember what role I read for. I thought it was Cheshire Cat.
Veruca Salt, remember? Did you read for Veruca Salt? I know that's
Maybe it was
there was-
Violet. It was,
Violet.
I think it was Violet. God, how did I confuse those two? That's funny.
Wow. Okay.
And then the third play that I went to, she was like,
Jessica's like,
uh-huh.
someone's lying.
Okay. So the third play that I went to go audition for was The Hobbit, and they had me read for Gollum. So I read for the role of Gollum, but the guy who had auditioned before me had done the voice, like the same character from the Lord of the Rings, and I thought it was so good. I was like, oh, he's a shoo-in. He's going to totally cast.
Tema, how old are you? Can I ask?
Now, 31.
So was that out back when you were in 16? The
This-
Hobbit was.
No, it wasn't the actual movie. This was a play.
Yeah.
I was in the.
The Hobbit was written many years ago before the.
You're talking
movies
about
came
Lord
out,
of the Rings
Jessica.
when it came out. I saw
Okay.
Lord of the Rings came out before I was 16, dude.
Did it?
Yeah.
Because I was in the Air Force when I went to see like the 5th one or whatever.
Well, the
fourth
first, yeah, but the first.
I don't know
one,
when was the Hobbit originally written? Like in the 30s or something, or was it?
A long time
Yeah, it was a
ago.
while ago. Yeah.
long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, if this, you know what? Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is like the first book that I read front to back.
And I know that the Cheshire Cat is not in it. That was a mistake. I know that. But that's besides the point. So
Don't worry, Jessica won't beat you up. Don't worry.
I know that. I
Get in
know.
the way. It's just
You had this look of fear in your eye, like, oh fuck.
Nah, we good.
Okay.
So I remember the first day of camp. We have classes and everything, and
What
then
was
they
the name of the camp?
Teenage Drama Workshop.
Tadwa. Yeah.
TADW.
Yeah.
I love you. So they put the cast list out for all the different plays,
At the same time.
and they were available at lunchtime. So we had already gone through all our classes for the day, and I go to see the cast list, and my name was next to Gollum of all the roles that I had read for. I was cast as Gollum in The Hobbit. And I burst into tears after lunch
But
because,
that's like the hardest part.
well, I was like, so
Yeah, but as a
bummed.
young teenage girl, you don't
Who's
want to
like,
be.
you don't want to be Gollum. Like I was just coming into my own, man. I was like past puberty. Like I was, looking good. And then
Some
it's
would have
like,
freaked out just being an evil stepsister, but you were ready for that.
I was so ready for it.
But
But it was like, it was singing and dancing and like,
Do you
it
remember
was-
any part of your scene when you did Gollum?
Yeah.
What? Do it.
Bless us and splash us, my precious. We want it, we need it. We must have the precious.
So this is before the movie,
I hope when
though.
you suck
So
dick
did
that
we
you look up
know-
at a guy and say that.
What can I say? I really reel him in with that one.
I mean, that was really good, but now I only know that that's really good from the movie, man.
Well,
Right? Like, was it?
I just remember the guy who had auditioned for the role had nailed it so hard, and then I guess I kind of made it my own. I just turned it and made it into my own.
Okay.
And so, did you actually do the performance as
I
Gollum?
did. I was cast as Gollum, and then I think there were 12 performances.
Oh no!
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Full bodysuit,
I
green
was gonna say, what did you have
bodysuit.
to wear?
Full green bodysuit. Had to paint my face green. I had braces, so that only added to like. And I was sucking a lot of paper dicks. Let me
No, I think you only had to do one, and that was it.
Because you'd be picking it out of that
yeah.
for a
I
while.
know. If you would have shredded Leaf Garrett bulge.
So I had those 12 shows, and then on the last day of camp, what they do is this thing called Munch and Crunch at this program, and it's like
That's a terrible name.
I know
Terrible
it is.
name.
They need to change it, right? I think
Munch
that,
and Crunch.
yeah. Well, it's not Wake and Bake, and they couldn't do that for young students, so you know.
I don't know. As a parent, I think that would be safer.
Munch and Crunch. What is that implying? So there was this whole musical theater act that was put on beforehand, and then they do this thing where they do awards, and they give out awards to all the different students that were in the program. And your girl ended up getting the Mary Ellen Clemens Award, which was the one award that was given to the one student in the entire workshop who basically had, had the best summer in terms of like they did the best job and like executed.
Right. So, best actress.
Best-
you won
yeah.
Best actress
For playing Gollum in
Who's
The
Mary
Hobbit.
Ann Clemens?
She was a woman who worked at CSUN and was a big part of bringing up the theater department there. And so that award was named in memory of her.
Well,
and it
kudos
was
for you for
thank you.
remembering that information about
I know
that
the
lady.
bells of St. Clemens.
Yeah.
Oh, I outsmarted Felicia.
You did. Hey, look at that. First time for everything.
I think you needed that, so I'll let that go. I can totally feel your pain on that because I'm sorry if I'm making it always all about me, but when I was a little kid, no, when I was in high school, freshman in high school, and in Fountain, Colorado, I was in the acting class, and we did Winnie the Pooh, and because my voice was very high back then, I got cast
As Pooh.
mother,
As the Cheshire Cat.
as fucking Piglet, right?
oh, that's precious. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
So adorable.
You're so sweet.
So then we had to make our own homemade costumes, which was hideous with the sewing class, and it was a musical, and we didn't. You guys,
But none
this
of
is
them
gonna
wear
make me
pants.
cry.
Good. No, sorry.
So anyway,
Breakdown.
so we got the music literally like the day before, and I'm just not musical at all. And then they invited like all the junior high and the elementary kids because it's a very small town, plus everyone in the high school to watch the performance. And so I was skipping around in a fucking pig's outfit in front of every kid in my town, and I forgot the words to the song.
Oh, no.
And I peed my costume. I got so no one could see I peed my
Good
costume.
God, you gonna layer anything else on there, Felicia?
Yes, I was fucking terrified.
Jesus Christ.
Terrified. And I peed my outfit.
And then I threw up. What else? Good God.
And then I got my period.
But not my boobs.
But not my boobs.
I hate all you bitches today. No, I'm kidding. All right, Emily, so your turn.
So I also grew up Mormon. My mom's from Utah. And so sometimes we would go spend the summer in Utah with my cousins because we weren't Mormon enough, I guess. I don't know. So just go sit in the mountain with a bunch of pigs. And so we go hang out with my cousins, and because it's the mountains and everything, there's lots of like horses and people rock climb and do shitty outdoors things. And so one year my cousins were like, hey, let's go walk in the mountains or whatever. And it's this teeny little town called Morganville. And there are like the normal Mormons inside the town, but then there's like polygamists and fundamentalists like outside the town. And so they usually live on compounds and are very insular and stuff. And so we're walking around just kind of like half desert, half mountain sort of space. And we see these people on horses coming towards us. And I was like, it's ghosts. It's definitely ghosts of like pioneers past or something. And it's these kids that are running away from a compound. They're fundamentalist kids. And so they look crazy. They look like they're from, the 30s or something, because they got the long dresses and hair and everything. And so they were like, we're trying to leave. We don't want to. My dad's going to marry me off.
Is there a Mormon language?
No, it's not like the Amish. No, it's not
You
like the
just
Amish.
couldn't leave yourself that smart, could you, Jessica?
So good though.
That's just when you speak it.
It's English.
I was thinking like the Amish.
Nope.
No.
Totally different.
Speak English.
No.
Also speak English.
No, we don't.
Mormonese. It's not
Can I just say something?
Amishism.
The other day, we go to Greenblatt's after the...
Now Jews can speak Hebrew.
we're at the table, we're actually ordering, and Jessica looks up from the menu and she just asked the waitress, out of the fucking blue, she's like, are you Jewish? I was like,
What gave it away?
I just want to know if we were getting the authentic experience.
By the way, that's a real genuine response.
I know. And the thing is, like, I know Jessica, so I'm like, oh, she really wants to know.
That's what I meant. That's what I'm saying.
But I can't, I don't want to, like, make fun of Jessica right then and there. I save it for when we have the podcast. But I had to backtrack our way out of that.
So like so North Carolina.
Well, she won't Jewish.
No.
What?
She won't
Jewish.
She won't.
She was not Jewish.
No, she was though, Jessica. She's
No, she said she wasn't Jewish.
Yeah, because you asked. Like
that a
generally, people are like, "Yes, I'm going." Like,
Well, why don't you ask
see
me?
the look on her face. Oh my god. Is that what? I should have asked. What? No, I thought she
persecuted
said
people
she-
aren't generally like, "Yes, that's me." That's
I think she was Jewish. Jessica.
No.
Was this your waitress?
first-
We're talking about your waitress
Yeah.
at Greenblatt.
Yeah.
And you straight up asked, "Are you Jewish?"
Yeah.
Totally valid. Did they look Jewish? Do you know what it means to look Jewish?
I mean, I thought she looked Jewish.
Ish. By the way, this is totally fine because I am Jewish.
I'm surprised she hasn't asked you.
If she doesn't know already, now you know. You knew.
when I first moved here. Brody Stevens. It was like the first week I was here. He came over and he went, "Are you a Jew?" And I was so excited. I was like, "No, but thank you.
I can be for you.
I could be Jewish for you." I was so excited. I'm like, we're in like Hollywood and like I feel powerful and no, okay.
He too is an LA native, a Jewish LA native.
Valley
Yes.
native, right?
A Valley native.
Yeah. So continue your story.
Okay, yeah. So they were trying to get into town because there's lots of resources throughout Utah for escaping fundamentalists.
Yeah, I have a question. So when, and I'm completely serious.
Okay.
So when they were running towards you and the girls in the long dresses, did they lift their dresses all the way up so they could really get to running, or was it?
No,
And I'm
they were
totally
on
serious.
horses.
They're on
They were
horses.
Oh, they were on horses.
Yeah.
Okay, my apologies.
Were they riding ladylike or?
One was with the
Were they riding like
Oy vey!
the sister in the front had her like she was straddling the horse, but the sister on the back was sitting like on the side and holding onto her sister. So
Okay.
yeah, so half ladylike, I guess we'll say.
And they were both in dresses.
They're both in dresses. But the sister in front had like breeches underneath, like long breeches, so she could like hold on to the horse and be sort of demure. I don't know.
Right. Okay.
Was there a saddle on the horse and all that?
Yeah, but like an old one, like not the new ones where like there's things to hold on. It was like barely like you can stay on the horse.
And
like
when-
that's all it is.
And did they stop when they saw you, or they just went by?
Yeah, they stopped because they didn't know like what direction town was or anything. They were just running. They were just leaving, and so they were like, "Hey, we need help, and we're leaving our compound and everything." And so my cousins were like, "We know where to go," and I was like, "Fuck this, they're ghosts!" Like I legit was like, "Why are they dressed like this?" Because I'd never met an actual fundamentalist before.
Really?
Yeah,
Being that close, it seems odd.
well, they don't.
They're just popping up.
They don't hang out. They don't.
Well, they gotta go to the grocery store or something.
No,
sometime.
they're self-contained.
Fundamentalists gotta eat too, man.
No, I thought you were gonna say I've never met a ghost before. It was like, oh, it's totally.
Oh no, I'm from the East Coast. We have ghosts everywhere. But they're yeah, no. But I was just like, this is weird, and like, there's like people are gonna be
How old
looking
were you?
for them.
How old were you?
I was 13.
Okay.
Yeah, and my cousin was 14, and then his brother is 11. And so we're all hanging out and like, what do we do with these? So like, what do we do with a fucking horse in a city? Like, I have so many questions. And so we were like taking them in, trying to find this place to go. And they didn't have any like foster houses where they could stay for the night. And so they left them with my uncle because he's a police officer. And they were like, yeah, they'll be safe with you. And people came looking for them. Because the town's only so big, and so they're like walking around like, "Where's a horse? Like, let's find these kids." And so my uncle stayed up all night with just a gun in the living room, and I was like, "This is peak America!" Like just like people hunting for us and guns. I was so scared. But they eventually like got sent to Salt Lake and were like adopted out and stuff. So
This is either a really cool story that you have or a great HBO series.
It's both.
big love, the dark days.
The darker.
Yeah, the darker. That's a comedy.
You guys,
I know.
excellent stories. Excellent stories.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. See, sometimes you never know. Like we had some guest counsel today, and then you kind of figure out, how to get other people to cover it, and then you don't really, we're just starting to get to know each other. I worked with Tema on the show, but it's really fun to get to know people through this exercise, and you guys really brought it. Really great stories.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, tear it apart, Jessica.
Here it goes.
Well, okay, so with Emmaleigh,
I like when you cross your arms all serious. But you have to go under your boobs because you can't go on top.
well, then I'd hit the microphone. But
That's honest.
so I know that she comes from a Mormon background. We've discussed that, and I feel like we've talked about your grandmother and all being a whore.
Yeah. She was the head whore.
The head whore.
Hey, if you're going to be a whore, that's the whore you want to be.
I just honestly, it's because the name was.
No,
whatever.
it's fine.
She ran a whorehouse.
She was a sex worker.
What was and by the way, there's no judgment. We don't want you to think that because I started comedy by being a stripper, so like
No.
we're totally
Oh no, I
okay.
get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the name of the whorehouse?
It was Flo's place.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Nova Scotia.
Very progressive.
Very progressive.
Wow.
Thank you.
It was actually because the license plate, it would say Flo and then her phone number because you only needed 4 numbers to call a number back then. And so it would be
shit.
Flo and her phone number was her license plate so that people would know how to get sex workers by just calling her number.
Now, did you grow up in the town where your grandmother had the whorehouse? And did kids tease you when you were a kid, or was she already out of the business by that?
By the time I came around, she had turned the whorehouses into rooming houses, so it was kind of just a retirement home for whores. There's a lot of the girls just live there.
I like that. She gave
That's
back.
respectable.
I'm totally serious.
Turn the business around.
No, it was good. Like, it was just a bunch of old ladies running around. My nan would be like, "You should have seen her in leather," and I'm like, "I don't want to fucking see her in anything."
And did they go as Flo's hose?
That's great.
No, but she would, because it was right by a naval base, and she would sit the girls out on payday. So because they had to walk past the house on the way to cash their checks, and so she's like, "You know where you're gonna spend it later," but they make them do it in the winter too, and she called them her prostitutes because they get so cold outside.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, and so
Wow.
Flo's hose. That's my new Halloween costume. You guys. Figure
Well,
it
she
out.
definitely was good at
Very
business. I
Yeah.
mean, that's obvious.
she
Prime
just-
location. She knew.
she knew her market.
Right. So I know that that's true for sure. That is true. I
What
know
year
this.
was your grandmother born in?
1926.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, was there
Wow.
any like little boys that your grandma was like, "Oh, you can't date him
Oh,
because you might be related"?
Honest. Fair.
not really. Just because she knew that we probably wouldn't date anybody that wasn't Mormon, just because my mom was so hardcore. So she wasn't really afraid of us like dating people. Also, she would have scared the shit out of them, so they would have run away. Like when she first met my husband, she grabbed his ass and was like, "If I were 20 years younger, the things I'd do to you." And I was like,
Wow.
I'd love to have the confidence of an 84-year-old woman that's just like, "I just need to be in my 60s to fuck you." Like,
I like it.
that's all I need.
Wow.
What a life to live.
So I know that I know that this is true, and you know, white trash comes in all different forms. You know, and my experience is different, but same, right? And I think
We're gonna hold hands.
Daughter
We're
of a
connecting.
Lebanese carnival barker? Is that what you're saying?
no, but it's different, but same.
Right.
You know what I mean? You get it, right?
Different players, same damage.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that
I
works.
think it's true because like my dad he had a son when he was 15 with a girl that was 18, and the son was raised thinking his grandparents were his parents, and like years later that son got married, and my cousin was in the wedding, or my cousin was getting married, sorry, and then he was in the best man's group, groomsmen. Right? And my dad was there, and everybody knew who he was, but he didn't know that was his dad.
Oh,
Word.
Aw, honey.
Yes.
Right.
I think that's different because I always knew. So it's just
Right.
like, we're just fucked up. Like, this is basically,
Right.
yeah. it's
So I
different.
think that story is true. The other Mormon thing, I mean, it was good. It was, but I've watched a lot of Big Love. I get really into that stuff.
So she's an expert.
It's her specialty.
You might not know the Mormon language. But
She does.
The mother tongue of the Mormons.
Guilt.
yeah, so
No.
I don't think that one is true. Maybe there's bits of it that's true, but I don't think that one's true.
What about you, Andrew?
Sorry about that. I think that I think the first one's true. You just had there was so much detail in it. That was what I would go with. And yeah, I think the other one could have happened to family.
But there was a
maybe.
lot of detail in that second story.
Sure was.
There was about her having breeches underneath the long dress.
Yeah, but she was also raised Mormon. Like she would, just in the. Like,
And I kind of had to pull that out of her. She didn't offer that, right? Like, what kind of horse was it? What color was the horse?
No, I'm not a farm. I know
This is the
Clydesdales
first-
and Sable Islands.
This is the first horse that's coming into your city. You got to tie up to your cop.
It was
uncles.
brown. That's I know about as much about horses as I do about cars. I'm like, it
That's why
moves
at least
and
I
it's
need
a
to know
color.
what color
It
because you would
was-
have remembered that.
Yeah, it was brown and it had like the white thing on it, but the hair wasn't braided like they are when they're really pretty for like shows and stuff. It was
Right.
just like wild.
That's really nice that you're going out there on the limb now with all these specific mentions. The one mention that you said, which kind of got me thinking maybe it wasn't true, was on the horse thing when you said that the girl in front rode and she had breeches on, and you know, and then the one in the back was sitting side saddle holding on. I can't imagine that would have been true.
Yeah, that's
That
right.
seems- yeah,
Exactly.
that doesn't seem correct.
And if it's two women, why would they do that?
And if they were
anyway?
galloping the fuck out of there, I'm gonna say nay on that part.
Boy, they.
How about you, Tema? What do you have any questions for her? You're
Um,
allowed to participate in the uncovering of bullshit.
no, I mean, no, I
or
think
horse shit. In
No.
this.
horse shit
Yeah.
is better fitted. Yeah.
So you're saying that the
The
we
first one's true.
yeah. We all believe your grandmother was a whore that stole your grandfather.
That's typically very believable.
I want to believe that more.
Yeah, me too.
What's the real answer?
It's my grandma's a whore.
There you have it, folks. There you know it. Wow.
Oh my God, you're so perfect for the comedy scene.
You really are.
Seriously, you're one of us. I feel you, sister. I feel you.
So funny.
It's just the way you said
All
it.
right.
My grandma's a whore.
I have
And a
lineage
smile.
of horrors.
And a smile. Yeah, the Whores of Yore.
Ancestry horrors.
Much
There's
respect
actually-
to sex workers.
Yeah, me too. I actually follow on Twitter the Whores of Yore, which you should follow it. It's a really fascinating stream to follow because every day whoever's running it puts up some famous whore of history, and it's fascinating,
That's
utterly
so
fascinating.
cool.
Maybe
so-
that could be us one day, Felicia.
Goals. Squad goals.
Wow. Anyway,
God, I
I hope so. I hope
Just
so. I
one
hope so.
special away from the Whores of Yore.
So what do you guys think about Tema's story? Do you want to go first, Jessica or Andrew, with any questions?
Well, I tell you what, Tema's good. She's a fucking actor. So this is what makes it hard. Did we all love JTT. Yeah, you thought you were going to get my heart with that, didn't you?
Really.
Just kidding.
God, I love you, you fucking freak. Continue.
This was just going to get me swept away in JTT. I think I remember that episode, as a matter of fact. And I was
I remember that episode.
Yeah. I was positive that it was a blonde, and I was like, okay, check. Do I remember seeing a little Tema? I don't know.
That's the thing. If that story's true, that's like the heartbreaking part of it. Was like nobody fucking remembered you.
And that's, by the way, that's why I didn't continue to pursue my acting. Clearly wasn't memorable. That's okay.
But then you had a lot of detail. You had a lot of detail for the acting. The name that sounds like a Native American. Say it again. What was the name of the?
Gollum?
Gollum?
No,
the program you were
Oh, Teenage Drama Workshop?
Say it with the
Tadwa?
Tadwa.
Yeah. Tadwa. T-A-D-W.
That's a secret
Tadwa.
Indian American word, Tadwa.
Yeah.
Have their own language.
Yeah. Yeah, theater kids also have their own language.
It's sadness.
It's rejection.
And just show tunes.
And I'm a little bit, and I don't know all this stuff. It's clear, but I think that the movie wasn't out yet, and maybe you wouldn't have done what's his name, Gollum, that way. It probably would have been a different take. I don't know how they did the plays. I don't know.
All right, that's fair enough, though. I see what you're saying.
Right.
Like, she is doing the impression of Gollum today. Like,
Right.
right.
So that's why I think that one's not true, and I think she was trying to
Excellent.
give us
Excellent. I
way
like
too
that.
many details,
Yeah.
so that we would think she was
Yeah.
telling the truth.
And Gollum, was he green in The Hobbit? Anybody?
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was clear.
He's great.
He was, what?
He was not.
He was
clear.
translucent.
He was not translucent. I can tell you that for a fact.
You can see his veins and stuff, right?
Thanks.
Gray.
Yeah, but
Gray.
He was old, though. That's why. He was
Yeah, yeah,
old.
yeah.
Old
they
and
could see-
baldy looking. He almost looked like an alien, right?
Right.
Yeah.
right.
What about you, Andrew?
Geriatric ET.
How old were you when you were in Tadwa?
For that year that I did.
I love how
play,
Andrew just throws it out like he's fucking participating. Tadwa. What's up with Tadwa?
What year were you in?
I wasn't in it. But
I was 16 years
You're
old.
16? Okay. I know when the second Lord of the Rings came out, I'm a dork. I know this stuff. So
Well,
it was
actually-
around, I'm saying it was around
Can you tell us without mansplaining?
I'm not. I'm just saying it was around 2002. So
And
you
he
said you're
continues.
31. So you back the math off.
Okay.
My math was at 15, so she's 15, 16, right around there. Could have been possible that that was
so
the
it
first
was-
time that Gollum was in a movie. So that's why I am assuming.
So it
that
was
could be
around
real.
the time that the movie came out.
So,
Is what you're defending her with that?
Yeah.
Is that true? Is that true, Tema? Is that true?
Am I supposed to tell truths right
Not
now?
yet.
I'm not.
No. Is it true that when you auditioned for that the movie had come out?
Yeah,
It
had
wasn't
Okay.
out.
It
The
had
Hobbit
already-
hadn't
Fair
been
enough,
out,
fair
but
enough.
The first
the
one.
Two Towers had come out, and that was
Correct.
the first movie that Gollum was in.
Yes.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, but she specifically said the Hobbit.
No, I know, but Gollum
Right, but
also
Gollum
was
is
the
in-
Hobbit, so you can base
Emily.
That's
off of Lord of the Rings for
Goddamn
the
dork.
Yeah.
Oh, I love you.
Hobbit. There we go.
Jesus.
nerd
So-
alert.
I'm not a total dork.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
I was trying to do the math a different way. It was like, when were those actors actually like popular?
Right? Yeah.
How old was I when anyone gave a shit about you?
I think that one's true. I think Tad was true, and maybe the first one happened to a friend or something, and your friend got rejected, or didn't get to kiss JT.
I think Tadwa maybe happened to a friend.
I think you did go to that program, and I think you were cast as the evil stepsister, or you were Cinderella.
Yeah.
That's what I think. So
Oh,
I'm
you're an ingenue.
That is very sweet. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
so I'm gonna, and I've seen you on stage. So I could totally see you being big like that and fun. So I'm gonna say,
Right, and you can sing real good like a princess.
yeah. Emily, do you want to?
Thank you.
What do you? What's
I
your?
was like,
I'll take it.
princesses sing? I don't know if that's a.
Frozen, bitch.
I rest my case, Your Honor.
You're gonna mansplain Frozen to us, Andrew? 'Cause if you did, that'd be fucking hot.
That would be hot, actually. I want to see that now. Go on.
So female empowerment.
So much action in there.
I know you guys don't know anything about it, but no.
Fuck off! I didn't even come close to saying it.
Defending the mansplain.
We made Andrew blush. All right, so Emily, what are your thoughts?
I feel like the math works out for the theater program, but I don't know if it works out for Tool Time.
Ooh.
I don't know. It just seems.
Ooh, actually, yeah.
Yeah, because I just.
She might have been younger.
Well, they're not going to put her in a spin the bottle if she's 7. Oh, I hope not. Although
been
it is
7.
Hollywood, so.
That was 11.
Right.
No,
That
I'm
is
just saying,
sound
like, I don't.
granddaughter of a whore logic.
Yeah, but I'm older than you. And I think I had his posters on up around that time when I was 11,
Yeah,
12.
that's what I just feel like you would
You
have
might be
been
right on that one.
young.
God damn it!
So you're saying the
I think she
JTT
would have been-
story is not correct, but the Tadwa story is
Yeah.
correct about playing Gollum.
Yes.
Oh, now you might have it all changed up.
I know.
And you're saying Tadwa, Andrew's,
Mm-hmm.
Andrew and Emily are on the same side, and you can change your mind if you want.
No, I'm staying with my guns. But you make a really good point.
So you're saying that the JTT story is
It's
true.
true.
Yeah.
Not Tadwa.
But I think that I think you were in Tadwa because no one just pulls that out of their ass unless they're a master liar.
Unless she was at that camp, like you said.
Yeah, yeah.
And she really was a princess.
Right. So I'm gonna say, all right, I'm gonna go with Jessica, and say that the JTT story is true. So what is it?
Wow, it's a house divided. JTT is not true. Nicely done.
That was good.
That's very good. Yeah.
Shit, Emily. Shit.
Yeah, I was doing the math on the way over here. I was like, I would have been 11. JTT would have been 17, 18. He would have been 18. That wouldn't be.
So did you
right.
pull that whole story completely out of your ass?
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Were you homeschooled?
Not at all. Not at all.
Not from Toluca Lake. You should have said that.
I was
No.
like, what? Homeschooled in Toluca Lake?
Yeah. No.
Was there a spin the bottle episode?
Yeah,
There was.
Probably.
every
There was.
90s sitcom with teenage kids
Honestly,
had a.
I don't know.
Right.
It just feels so 90s sitcom friendly. Yeah.
Wow.
I came
And-
up with all that.
And then how did you come up with the Mormon story about the girls riding the horses?
It actually happened to my cousins. I just wasn't there.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
I was
Excellent
there
guess,
that
you
night, but I didn't
guys.
find them.
Excellent.
Wow,
guess.
these were good.
These were really good.
You guys
I
are
applaud
good.
you both.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That was
I applaud
fun, you
you
guys.
both.
So you did play the.
Gollum. I played
And
Gollum.
it was a green suit.
You want to see?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not to bluff, but let me
We
tell
gotta post
you.
this picture with the podcast.
For
You're
sure,
gonna have
the
to.
little picture's
Oh.
going to be Lord of the
Yeah, I
Rings.
was about to
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
yeah.
Can you do a Mormon Lord of the Rings?
Well, yeah, Lord of the Rings is perfect. There's multiple wives.
Yeah.
Multiple rings.
Fuck y'all, whatever.
Nice.
And when you said mother tongue earlier, I was going to say the mother and mother and mother tongue.
Right, right. But you didn't. I mansplained and hopped on that shit before you, Andrew. Totally teasing you.
I'll be over here.
No. Andrew's awesome.
With his book.
By the way, as you're looking for that, let's go through credits. Where can people find you, Andrew?
You can find me everywhere at one Andrew Rose. That's across the board: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Also, be on the lookout. I have a book coming out here in a couple weeks. It's a joke book. If you need a stocking stuffer, come and grab one. I'd appreciate it.
Well, what is the name of your book?
365 funny facts for your unfunny father. Starter's way better than anything that he could come up with.
And by the way, the book does look quite nice, and congratulations. That must have been a lot of hard work. Good for you, Andrew.
Yeah, it looks really, really good.
Yeah, and one
really
Andrew
good.
Rose is the number one, right?
Yeah,
One
Andrew
Andrew
number
Rose,
one, not
okay.
spelled out.
And Jessica, where can people follow you?
At Jess Wellington 2. That's the number 2. Jess Wellington 2. On everything. Facebook, I am Jessica Wellington. Obviously, listen to our podcast.
It's a video, by the way.
Oh, let's see the video.
You
Let's
ready
see
for
the
this?
video.
Here.
Can we hear
Can we hear it? Yeah, can we hear you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Is it, I don't
spinning
know
wheel
if
of
it might,
death.
yeah.
There's no
Oh, there's a
reception
signal
down
down
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Oh, wait a second. I need the Wi-Fi. Hit me with the Wi-Fi.
No, it's okay. We'll
We'll do it.
We'll trust you
We'll
on it.
attach it or something. And we'll
But
Yeah.
it's my moment to shine, you guys.
We will, but
If you send us a link, we'll definitely put it up because that's just too rich not
Right.
to. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
It's pretty good.
And you did a very good impression.
Thank
I
you.
should have gotten that. God damn it, Emily.
And Emily, where can people follow you?
They can follow me. It's Emmaleigh Rivera, EMMALEIGH. I hate my parents. Emmaleigh Rivera on everything, and follow us at MassageCast on Instagram for the podcast.
So your grandmother's last name was Rivera in Nova Scotia?
No.
Oh, okay. Is that a stage
She's
name?
married.
No, I'm married. I
Oh,
took
you're
it.
married.
I
Okay,
ran
okay.
away from my other name.
Yeah, I just thought your grandma liked brown skin so much. She's like, now we're the Riveras.
Yeah, we're just gonna take it, guys.
And that's how you declare
Cultural
last name.
appropriation. No.
Okay,
no.
wonderful. And Tema, where can people find you?
You can find me on all social media at Tema Louise, TEMALOUISE. And also tune in for, I have my monthly comedy show. It's All Good at Solidarity in Santa Monica. Our next show is November 11th. And perform all around town. A lot of
good.
exciting things
Wonderful.
coming up. Yeah.
We actually have a show coming up November 9th at the Ice House on the second stage. We want you guys all to know that we've been doing live shows. And it's a work in progress, but it's been a lot of fun. And we should be putting some of those episodes out as bonus episodes. We have to shift it around a little bit to accommodate the live scenario. But it's been a lot of fun to kind of do it and to grow and stretch out. And we honestly want to thank all of you guys for listening. We love that you're leaving reviews, and we appreciate it because we know you have a lot to choose from. And we'd also like to thank the Comedy Store for letting us record down here in the belly of the Comedy Store. And I've been Felicia Michaels, and you can follow me all across the board at Felicia Michaels.
And I'm Jessica Wellington, and you've been lied to.